Hey everybody, it is time for some more Totally Tea and Tarot, and I am Madame Onça. Again, back from a bit of a hiatus as I was doing a lot of traveling and teaching and so forth over the summer. And now we are getting back into the rhythm of the fall. So, I'm also making up for some missing time here in the cards. We're going to duck back in time and do the Four of Swords, which is one that we seem to have passed over somehow. So, let's do some Four of Swords today. As in the past, we are starting with the herb that corresponds with this card, according to the correspondences decided by the herbal tarot people back in the day. And they made the correspondence of Mullein. Mullein is one of those sort of unprepossessing sort of just looks like a weed, if you don't know anything better, in the garden. It's just a little fuzzy green plant. And however, it's really great for any kind of ailment of the lungs. It's associated with respiratory illness. It's associated with being helpful for asthma. Folks who are trying to clear out their lungs. I have known many a sort of earthy person who was smoking mullein as sort of a curative for their lungs. So I can neither confirm nor deny these claims, but mullein tea. It's just, again, it doesn't have strong flavor to my palate anyway, and it's good for all things respiratory, which comes in handy because today we are doing the Four of Swords. Swords, of course, are about air, breath, communication, also the intellect, decision-making, and boundaries. And in the Four, we see a bit of a period of turning inward, and you might even say recovery. So I think that Mullein might be a nice correspondent for us today. We've got my deck, the World Spirit Tarot, which you can find both here in my hand on the internets. I love this particular card. This image is fairly consistent with Pamela Coleman Smith's Rider-Waite version, which always has a feeling of a knight doing their vigil kind of in the chapel. But here I wanted to add that element of green, which to me was suggestive of Osiris's greenness after his resurrection. So there's that suggestion of rest and recovery. You can see this person has left a crutch behind, and they are clearly inside the church. And you can see they're laying on one sword, which has the rainbow laid in it, and this very lovely window, which honestly I'd love to have that window in my house. Also, you see as they are here having their period of repose and recuperation, there's in the back you can maybe just see there's a horse or donkey, something waiting to carry them off when they're ready to go. They've got a way out. They just need to take a little time for rest and recovery. Here's a few other artist renditions of this. This is the Light and Shadow, another block print deck, which I really, really enjoy. It has a nice blend of Rider-Waite Smith, Thoth, and global culture art. You can see this one really, again, talks about going inward and finding some balance, poise, center. Right there. There's their focus as they sort of perhaps unravel whatever injury they had experienced in the tumultuous path of the swords. Here they are. Has almost again, a very meditative quality. And then in Steevee Postman's lovely Cosmic Tribe, we see something that is much more, sorry if I can get it at a good angle. There's sort of, there we go, sort of a frequency, like a vibration about it. All the little hands on the swords, very clever. And it suggests, how to say? Well, I mean, again, this card is about sleeping on it, not rushing into things, but rather finding some balance, finding some poise. And again, you might say finding your frequency. I do want to once again pop up the Thoth deck. This one's called Truce, just to show that there's some relationship between the approach that Steevee Postman and Lady Frida Harris, working for Aleister Crowley, took. The colors, the composition, even though this one is a little bit more vibrational, if you want to put it that way. So Truce or recovery. So when this card, Four of Swords, comes up, and you've drunk your Mullein tea, you're trying to rest and recuperate after a period of difficulty, again, sleep on it. There's a sense here of needing to, you might almost say that you are formulating or you are processing your information and experience relative to your question so that you can move forward in a state of restored a restored condition and a sense of balance, able to make good decisions and not just a reactive. Because if you remember, going back in time to when we talked about the Three of Swords, the Three of Swords is the card of betrayal. It is you put your faith in someone, something, or a situation, and it did not turn out. So it might be supposed that in this card that you definitely need to literally inspiration, to breathe in and exhale and take a minute before you charge forward in a reactive state. Love the Four of Swords. Again, I really think Pamela Coleman Smith did a great job, and I loved having the opportunity to rework her image, keeping it a church in that sense of sacred space, but moving a little bit out of the whole Judeo-Christian framework that is so much a part of the illustration job she had to do in making the Rider-Waite deck. So that's your Four of Swords. I hope it's helpful. Mullein tea. Hope that's helpful, and I'm going to keep pressing forward, trying to get us caught up so we can get all the way ahead and to working on the sixes here in our Totally Tea and Tarot blog. You can buy decks online from me. I have an Etsy store, Madame Onça Studios. You can also find me on the Facebooks. I have a Patreon where I share these videos and more about our artistic process. And I do readings for folks who would like a very practical, pragmatic approach. So all of those things, you can find out more information in the YouTube description or visit me on the internet. Thank you, and blessed be.